DM Live TV, your number one digital channel for business, entrepreneurship, and innovation.
Welcome to yet another episode on DM Live TV. It's a pleasure to be hosting you once again, and today I have an awesome opportunity of being in the presence of greatness. When I say that, I don't say it lightly, because the person that I'm about to interview is not just an entrepreneur, is not just a technology enthusiast, is not just a fintech expert, but is also a princess. Yes, you had that right. She's a princess, and so we'll be talking to her shortly and find out exactly how she got into this industry and a bunch of other things. So stay with me as we get into this show and episode. So, like I said, I am in the presence of royalty. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you Princess Shamirah Kimbugwe. Is that right? Yeah? Okay, great. Shamirah, it's a pleasure to meet you. To be here with you today. Yeah. Okay. So tell us about you. I mean, by the fact that you're a princess, you most probably are famous. Yeah.
No, I'm not famous. I'm actually an average Joe.
Yes. Average.
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, I am an average Joe.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about you and what you do. And I know that you are a co-founder and CEO of Pivot Payments. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe just. But before we get into Pivot Payments, like, who is
Shamirah?
Yes, the princess. Yeah.
I normally like to drop the princess bit and go with Shamirah, and I hope we can have the same.
Oh yeah, sure.
So Shamirah is a very simple person. Last born, 13.
Okay.
Loves life, loves a good laugh. I am a lawyer by profession.
A lawyer?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Who happens to be now among the deeply entrenched fintech enthusiasts in Uganda.
In Uganda.
Yes.
Okay.
Born and bred here. Went to my business, secondary school, girls' school actually.
Yeah.
Went to Shamirah University. Left the country, did a bit of study abroad, and came back.
Well, you're glossing over abroad and came back, but like, where did you study?
I went to Dundee.
Okay.
Yes.
That's in the US, right?
UK.
Okay.
Yes. And when I came back, I was lost, to be honest. I was very, very lost. I didn't know what to do, in the sense that I never wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
I come from those families, very traditional families.
Yeah.
My dad wanted a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, an economist. He was the traditional dad who didn't really go far with education, and so he wanted to see that in us.
Okay.
And so he chose for me law. He said, "You're going to be the lawyer." I said, "No," and he said, "Well, I'm paying for you. You're going to be what I want."
Yeah.
And so I went through with it.
Okay.
And I didn't even practice for a single year.
Not at all.
I stopped. Only moved, only school, done.
Were you committed to the bar?
No.
Not even that.
I walked away from it.
You walked away.
After I got my degree, which is a very good degree because I got an upper. I had the conversation with him. I said, "This is yours.
Yeah.
You paid for it.
Yeah.
Well, this is the receipt."
Wow.
It both broke his heart.
Yeah.
And made him proud. It broke his heart because he said, "I always wanted you to be, the lawyer and everything."
Yeah.
But it made him proud because he says he kept on saying, "You've got it in you to stand up for yourself.
Yes.
To know what you want,
Yes.
and go for it." Then when you asked me, "What do I want to do?" I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. No idea.
The only thing you knew is that I don't want to be a lawyer.
No.
Okay.
And the reason why I didn't want to be a lawyer, a very flimsy reason really. One, I didn't like how dressed up they were. I'm a very colorful person.
Yeah.
I want to wear yellow, I want to wear pink today, I want to wear white tomorrow. And so when they, kind of boxed us, I was like,
that's not
it's
going to
not
work.
me. It's not me.
Yeah.
And then, and the fact that we rely mostly on precedent, which is old cases and everything. It just didn't fit in with me. I'm a creator, I'm an innovator. I wanted to see things being born. I wanted to challenge status quo, and I wasn't getting that. And so I said,
no, I'm not going to do that.
And the worst part was the reading. The huge volume.
But you went through with it, yeah?
I did, and I really liked it. And but I didn't see myself as a person who is going to be, buried in books, buried behind the desk for years. I wanted to do something, and for me, it's very important that there's a legacy you leave behind, other than just go through the pipelines. I walked away from it.
Wow.
So I know.
Wow, that's actually inspiring, and I hope that our viewers out there shouldn't be afraid to walk away from things that they feel they're not cut out for. Because sometimes you're pushed into a box, and then you're not happy, and you're doing things for the sake of doing those things. And,
Absolutely.
So, how then did you get into fintech? Because
the transition?
Yes, the transition. So before we even get into the transition, so you didn't know what you were going to do,
I didn't.
But how do you find? How do you identify? What was the process that you went through to be able to identify and say, you know what, I'm going to go into this industry and I'm going to stick it out there and I'm going to give it my all, and So how?
I actually quite found the industry by mistake.
Okay.
A very, very big and happy mistake. But I started out, I one time worked for my brother who had a company, and he asked me to come in as a business development person. I did, I did work with him, but the environment was so laissez-faire. It had its own challenges. I knew I wouldn't fit in. I don't typically like working in environments where there's literally no direction or goal. And so I found myself getting bored. And then I was invited, by now, I think he's the MP for Kawe, if I'm not mistaken. Bashir. He invited me to.
I think he was
before. No, he is now. He's the new one. Yes. He invited me to come and consult when they were opening up Pale FM. So I was in media at certain point. I built their business development department, the marketing department, the sales department. It came so naturally. I had some training in the UK. I had worked. I had some bit of experience, and we used to work out of a hotel, literally beds, because the station hadn't been built. It was exciting. And then a certain gentleman picked me up. He saw something in me. He's called Muhammad Khalisa. And he had a presentation one day with a company called MCash.
MCash.
Yes, and he asked me if I could come along and do a presentation for him.
Okay.
And then when I went there, he did the presentation and he said, okay, we'll get back to you. It was about him getting, I think, an agency agreement with them. But then when I left, 2 hours later, I got a call and they asked me if I would want to join them and work with them.
So the MCash people now call you. Okay.
Yes, I was very confused. I said, look, I didn't come for a job, I came for this. And I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know the industry. I have no idea. But I had been in banking a bit.
Okay.
And I got bored, the suits, the ties,
so it looks like you so this is the process, so you've done a little bit of media, you've done
media,
business development,
you've done, exactly.
And then
and for me, that was the most important phase of my life, because not only did it shape me, but it challenged me. I didn't want to settle down for something that I wasn't comfortable in. I did not want to settle down for something that was, I didn't see myself changing, the status quo. I'm a very fast learner, alhamdulillah, but I needed something that would keep me awake, would get me up in the through wee hours of the night, 3 a.m. jot down something, think about this, what is happening here. And so having tried that, the different things, it gave me exposure, but it also gave me choice. When it came to media, I didn't see myself as a media personality stuck behind a mic, but I didn't even, when it came to banking, I didn't see growth for me by the time. I mean, it takes a lot of years for them to grow. When I did business development, I thrived. My eyes lit up. my
You're
heart
happy.
beat faster.
Yeah.
I binged on coffee because I was finishing something. So I found that, that's something that I could do. So then I joined MCash. I didn't know what MCash was.
Yeah. So you took up the offer.
I did. I took up the offer after
Okay.
going back and forth with my parents, my boyfriend then, my family, my siblings, my friends, and I said, "No, we don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
We don't even know what they do.
Yeah.
It's not mainstream." My dad's hard work actually.
Okay.
I said, "Now look, you said you don't want to do law,
Yeah.
and here you are going. What is it again?" I said, "What do they do?" I couldn't explain it because I didn't know it,
You didn't
but I was
understand.
happy and he could see it. And then
Yeah.
he said to me, "If I ask you to do something and you're not happy, I'll have put you in a prison for all your life.
Yes.
And I wouldn't want you to resent me at the end of the day."
Yes.
And so that's how he said, "You got
It's
my
okay.
blessing, go ahead."
Go ahead.
And so, first day at work,
Yeah.
got a laptop, had absolutely no idea,
Uh-huh.
but yep,
There you are.
there I was.
There you are. That's pretty interesting. So two things that really stand out for me is that you allowed yourself to experience
Yes.
different things,
Yes.
but then also I noticed that you talked to all the stakeholders
Yes.
in your life,
Yes.
and just consulted with them. And then the third thing actually is that I think you had a great father.
Yes.
Just him allowing you to go out there and do all these things
Yes.
until you're able to find yourself.
Yes.
And he's more interested in having a great relationship with you
me,
than
my happiness.
than you having to resent him because he forced you into this. And so that's amazing.
Yep.
So you get into MCash and like you said, you're a fast learner, and so this is your first exposure
Very
to
fast
the
experience.
fintech industry.
Very fast.
Okay.
And I got in as a business development.
Yeah.
And then brand development manager, but then they realized I was very, very, oriented on the development side,
Yes.
on the marketing side, on the
Yes.
sales side,
Yes.
so I bring in the numbers.
Yes.
I understood the business faster, and so I started moving up and down the country.
Okay.
Doing Bali, it was actually my station at one point.
Okay.
I like to joke about me working 8 days a week. I moved, a bit, and we spread the gospel of wallet, which
Yes.
was the first wallet outside of mobile money
Yeah.
in Uganda. And so
Yeah.
I had the privilege to learn. It was hard, it was early on the market,
Yes. Yeah.
how it was received, especially by the rural people. But for me, the most important thing was it changed people.
Yes.
And that's what struck me the most. I said, this is what I want.
Yes.
Because they had built
So
a
financial inclusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember my turning point. I had gone to Mbale, deep down in the hills, road, I think. And there was a lady I found bruised. She had lost a tooth. She was very bruised, had cuts, and when we sat down to talk to her, it came down to money. She had a fight with her husband
Over money.
and
Yeah.
she had sold beans,
Okay.
and she had got the money. And when he came home, he wanted the money to go drink. And she said,
Yes.
"I'm gonna hold on to it because
Yeah.
kids' nutrition."
Yes.
And she got a third of it.
Wow.
So she had split the money, hidden part of it, and exposed some of it. So
Yes.
that's what he took.
Okay.
And the part that he had hidden, she had heard of us.
Yes.
And so she came looking for us and said, "They said you keep money safely."
Yeah.
I said, "Yes, we do." And when we could see what we had done for her to give her that security,
Yes.
that I don't have a bank account, but I have
But
a
I
wallet
have-
where I can
yeah,
keep my
yeah,
money.
yeah.
For me, that was the turning point. I said, I think this is the industry for me. There's both
Okay.
impact,
Yes.
there's growth,
Yes.
and there's passion. So I
Yes.
said, this is it.
Yes.
And that was the turning
That
point.
was the time for it. So how much time did you spend in MCash?
Um,
for how long before you
About 4
transitioned
years.
out and started?
Yeah, about 4 years.
About 4 years.
But I did about 4 years.
Okay.
And then I don't like to say coaching. I was invited to join True African.
True
African,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And so True African was then the pioneer of SMS and
Yes. Yes.
mobile banking navigation,
Okay.
mobile money. So I went to True African as again head of business development. And I developed a product called Peleo. It was the first.
So you're the one who
Yes.
who developed this product.
Yes. Oh, from sketches, from Ghana.
Yes.
And I remember our first corporate customer was Barclays then. And for me, it was the biggest validation in life. I was like, it's Barclays. I went home, I got to experience it. Mom, I did something.
I closed the deal. I built something.
And for me, that was a super validation of some point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in traffic, I learned very quickly that it's a jungle. It's first of all, it's not a woman's world.
Yeah.
I think that has been some of my most challenging times in the industry because I got more exposure. MCash was more sheltered because we're working out of a very specific corridor wallet, and then Traffic comes and
It opens
your
up.
your stakeholders as a company are banks, is telecoms, is merchants,
Yes.
It's so many, and you learn very quickly that it's not a woman's world at all. But I had an amazing boss there. Sometimes he just called me to his office and said, let's talk. What's happening? He gave me that, so he encouraged me. And sometimes he would push me so hard, I felt like probably this guy has a problem with me. But he kept on saying, there's something in there. And yes, there was something.
We're going to dig it out.
So I stayed with them for about 2.5
Yes.
coming to 3.
Okay.
And my journey ended.
Yeah.
And I was invited back.
To MCash.
Yes. And when I went to MCash, when I returned to MCash, I returned now as head of agency banking. So that was the time.
Now MCash has also diversified.
Exactly,
in
it
terms
has
of,
grown.
products and everything. Yeah.
And that was the time the country was looking at agency banking, and there was a craze about agency banking.
Yes.
The craze was developing.
Yes.
And so when I went back, we sketched, we had sleepless nights, long hours, coffee, drafting, drawing cartoons on paper. This is how the money will flow. Yes. And we came up with the agency banking product for MCash.
Yeah.
Initially, we worked with ABC, which now is ABC, but before we were working directly with Uganda Bankers Association.
Yes. Yes.
And then they took on Eclectics, and then we then went with DFCU. So the first agent hybrid model with any bank was by us with DFCU. The rest of the banks were going with
So you
ABC.
guys were pioneers.
So we were pioneers, and sometimes when I look at the product and I smile and say, look, that's my baby. I have a contribution on that. However humble it may be, I say, we did something.
Yes, you did something.
And so we drove that, took it live. It was a good product, it was a solid product. When you look at how it has turned out, you're thinking,
you did something.
That was good.
Okay. So then, so you go back to MCash. Is that the time when you leave MCash after that and transition into building your own platform?
My own? No. The journey continues. So at MCash, I got a lifetime offer.
Lifetime offer.
I got an invitation to Cellulant Group as country director, Uganda. An amazing opportunity. This is a multinational. This is an African, Pan-African brand all over so many countries. In finance or accounting, you have the big four. The Deloittes there. And so when it came to Africa and in Fintech, we looked up to these brands. And so when the brand said, "Do you want a job?" It wasn't, "Can I have a job?" It was, "Do you want to work with us?" I don't remember a time in my life when I froze.
That was
it.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is validation.
Yeah.
Because it's a big brand. It's an intense brand.
Yes.
And here they were saying, "Do you want to join us?"
And not just at some lower management.
And this stupid thing I did, I said no.
Oh.
Yes.
Do you still think it was stupid though?
It was stupid. I said no, and I said, okay, that's interesting. We were told it would be good, and I got a phone call from someone saying, someone told me, I recommended you somewhere, and they told me you turned them down. I said, yes. Why? I don't know. I'm scared. I said, can you call them back and take the offer? I called them back and took the offer.
Okay.
And I remember when they flew me to Nairobi for the final interview, I sat with Ken Joroge, who is now one of the pioneers for Fintech in Africa. Momo, Sembi, Milka. I looked at these people in this room and how much knowledge they had, and for the first time I realized how big the industry was.
Yes.
the potential of the industry,
Yes.
and how much I had to learn.
Yes.
And so I prayed, I made a silent prayer and said, I hope they all say yes now. Now that I'm saying yes.
Yes.
And so they said, they'll get back to me. So I said, this is weird. Fly me all the way here. You don't give me an answer. So they followed me to Nairobi.
Yeah.
I had my interview. And in the room, I remember Ken asking me, why did you join Fintech when you're a lawyer? And I said, I didn't know then. I still don't know now.
Yeah.
But all I know is that there's change in this industry, there's impact in this industry.
Yes.
And then he said to me, okay, we'll get back to you. Didn't say anything else. My heart sank. I said, was that the right answer? Was that the right thing to do? And so I flew back. So at the airport, they called me. I had just landed here,
Yes,
and they called me and said, we've been looking for you. Your phone is off. I said, I had a flight.
Yeah.
Could you come back? I said, I can't come back. I don't have a ticket right now. I can't. There's a lot of things. And like, all right. So I just wanted to let you know. It was night. It was about 7 or 8 p.m. So it was an evening flight.
Yeah.
And they said, you have the job.
Wow.
I said, this can't be real. You know, it's night. It's confusing. I said, I'm sorry. What did you say? I said, oh, okay. Can I get back to you? I said, first, at the Entebbe airport, I remember in the car park, I sat down and cried.
Okay.
I said, this is a girl who comes from a very humble family. This is a girl whose father wanted to be a lawyer.
Yes.
This is somebody who has not had it easy in the industry.
Yes.
And this is a girl now who's being offered, you know, country director, you know, this is like top of the range for fintech.
Of course. Yeah.
I sat down and cried, and this gentleman who came and said, who has died? I said, nobody has died. I said, my pastor's died. He's like, you pastor, but you're a hajjat. I said, I didn't say pastor, I said past. And you know, I laughed through it and got up and went home and that's how my journey started in fintech. So I joined fintech, I'm country manager, country director. Yeah. Best time of my life in this industry. And it was from there that I then come to
people. Yeah. So you say that this was a lifetime opportunity, and so you get into settlement, right?
Yes.
And you make things happen. What then informs your decision to build your own platform and transition out of settlement?
The story, the founding story of Settlement is a very interesting story.
Okay.
2 young men, one Nigerian, one Kenyan, sitting in a coffee shop, sharing a story and writing on a subject and saying this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And a couple of years later, they raised $50 million in funding.
Wow. Okay.
And we are the people they used to push at a certain point to deliver. So Ken, and I think Ken is responsible for me being here.
Okay.
I refer to him very fondly as Ken, but Ken Njoroge was very, very influential in my decisions. Because every time we met as senior managers, he drummed into us creativity, innovation, go get it. You know, this sky is the limit.
Yes.
Creativity, stick on your guns, do it. But for me, it was how he came from nowhere, stuck his guns in an industry, and then boom, he hits it at a certain point. So I'm the kind of person who gets very bored easily. You know, things are normal and there's nothing challenging.
Becomes mundane and routine.
Yes. And said, to tell the truth, I'm not an early riser. I wasn't an early riser.
Before.
And so I hated the whole. There's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure.
Okay.
The numbers are ridiculous that I ask of you. The targets are ridiculous. They push you beyond your best limits.
Yes.
I don't know if I can say that again. They push you beyond your best limits. They'll refine you. They'll sharpen you.
Yeah.
They'll challenge you. You break down and cry sometimes. You will ask yourself, why want to do this? In the days where you'll be so happy, you don't want it to stop.
Yeah. And
you ask yourself, what was I doing before? The level of how they see things, how they see Africa, the vision they have for Africa is so ingrained in you, and you feel like, look, I can't stay in this level.
Yes, like you can't stay
I think
small.
I also need to make my mark. Somebody else has started a path, and so I need to. So I made the decision to leave the company. And I remember this is the first time I think I did something and I didn't talk to anyone about, because I knew it would come with a lot of resistance.
Yes.
we are a generation or a society that believes in employment.
Yes.
And if you are at that level and say I'm walking away, they're going to say,
what's wrong with you?
in Uganda, you know. And so I made the decision to leave the year before.
Okay.
And I communicated this to my supervisor. I remember I told him, no, I don't think I'm going to continue with this. My mental health is, deteriorating. The pressure is too much. Yeah. But then I had also been given Rwanda as a market, so I was running two markets. Okay. But also there was a shift in the company's strategy, and we were refocusing. And so, being the person who's going to help the two countries transition this way, I think by then I wasn't ready, mentally. Yeah. I said, look, I can't do this. I love it, but as I said, hang in there. But I made my decision, and then in the next year, which was 2020, last year, I called it quits. I walked away.
So pivot payments is basically like you built this last year.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
2020, and we're here.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing, because that's like being able to build something in record time, and
it's been a blessing.
It's been a blessing.
That's all I can say. It's been a blessing.
Okay, so tell us how you start pivot payments and everything that comes with it.
Craziest thing I ever did. So last year in March, I think, to be exact. So I had started preparing myself. I think I'm going to walk away. Yeah. But I'm going to take some time off. It's about 6 months just to regain my mental health, just to rethink, refocus, re-energize. So as I was preparing to leave, I registered the company. I remember I said, do I want to partner with people? I asked myself so many questions, but everyone's going to call me crazy. So let me go ahead with it. So I registered the company while I was still at Celiland. Okay. To be specific, on 19th March is when I got my documentation. And
this 19th March 2020. Great.
And it was so surreal. I said, look, I'm exiting this and I'm having this, and I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. I didn't know what I'm going to do. I didn't know what direction I'm going to take. But I was like, I'll start this. I'll do this. And then the day I walked away, I remember my last week at work when I had, I said I'm walking away. I had resigned and handed over. Yeah. That's the week we went into lockdown for COVID.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. So, no job.
Yeah.
COVID lockdown, total lockdown. Yes. Forget this one. This one has just happened. This one we're moving.
Yeah.
That
was total. Like it was.
Alien.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I've made decisions in life.
Yes.
And this is one that's gonna, burn my fingers real good.
Yeah.
And so I asked myself, okay, what next? For the first week I was happy. I was like, I'm free, no more mornings, no more longer nights, no more documentation, no more meetings. You get excited momentarily, and then it sinks in. Yeah. My husband was unhappy with me.
Okay.
My brothers were unhappy with me. Unfortunately, both my parents passed on, so I didn't have I couldn't bounce the idea off them. Yeah. And so I knew if I had told these people before, they'll be mad now.
They'd stop you. They'd basically stop you.
They would stop me.
Yes.
Maybe smartly so. But it's COVID. I've walked away. I have nothing to do. I can't do anything. I can't even start a shop. Yes. Crying out loud. And I said, okay, now I'm cooked. I'm really cooked.
Yeah.
And so I remember sitting down and saying, but look, after a month, I said, look, you started this.
Yes.
You want this very bad.
Yes.
You've got it in your head that you want to go a certain direction. And so there's something you have to do about it. So I sat down, I said, look, I remember I had some old papers, an old dream of paper, and because I hadn't used it for some time, it had sort of like edged in the corner.
Yes.
And that's what I got and started drafting. This is what I want people to do.
Yeah.
This is the gap I'm seeing.
Yeah.
What I used to do in Celiland, thinking afresh, creating, innovating.
So you basically did like a business model.
Everything.
And value proposition.
Everything.
Okay.
What do I want you to do? Who is my customer? What do I want to? How much money do I want? What? I envisioned everything.
Yes.
For next time, I envisioned what my office would look like.
Okay.
And I didn't have any person.
Yeah.
By then, I didn't even have that much money because I looked at my savings. I looked at myself. I said, "Look, Shamirah, really, hope this is not going to take you places." And it's COVID. I said, I doubt people are going to be hiring right now.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, now I have no choice. I have to go for it. And I started making a few phone calls. And what I have to be very thankful for on this journey is the value of networks. I always tell people when you're in a place when you're employed, it's not so much about the money. It's the networks you build at all levels. People think that networks means MDs, CEOs. For me and the people who have built Pivot, it's been the humble levels, right? Engineers, the freelance engineers, the freelance finance people, freelance HR people. Somebody once looked and said, "Look, I'm starting something. Could you do this paper for me? Could you do this for me? Could you set this up for me?" I'm like, "Sure, sure." And they're like, "Okay, how much?" Like, going great is this, but what can you give me? Someone said, "What can you give me?
What can you afford?"
And when you tell them what you can afford, they're like, okay, it's you." Done. So
they're basically not doing it because of the money.
Exactly,
they're doing
because
it
of the relationships you build. And that has been my biggest capital in this business. I've grown so much, and I'm very, very thankful, by the way, and it humbles me. We've grown this fast or this big because of the value of networks, from the banking fraternity, from the fintech fraternity, from the engineering fraternity, from even the market itself, because people know you, they've worked with you, they've seen what you can do, the type of business ethics you have. I remember when I went to ABSA to get an accountant and get a relationship with them for Kadatar, the gentleman said to me, "You're young, the business is young, we have no way to prove your numbers, right? You're just prospecting. But I've seen we've worked together for years. So I'm going to give you a benefit of doubt for 1 year, and we'll see where that takes us." And that was the time it took the years. When we were getting Winreco, our biggest client.
Reco is your biggest
Winreco, the biggest local client. The day they sent us what they call KYC, the customer checklist. On the checklist, they had things they wanted. And I'm going to say this, and probably people think I'm crazy. One of the things they wanted was a bank account statement. Audited books, 2 years. Now, this is a company that is months old. Right? We had in a bank account with nothing in it. There was not even 100 shillings in it.
It was just a bank account.
And I remember I went to my personal account to do some money, put it there, started playing with it just to get some sort of traction, but I knew it wouldn't make sense. But I tried it anyway. Then the systems, it's been beautiful, it's been challenging, it's been painful. But we started when they wanted to say, "You're an unknown. We don't know you, but we've seen what you can do as a person. And so we're going to give you a chance." And that's how we hooked when we started. 2-3 months down the road, I remember I had a discussion with one of their top managers and said, "I'm not sorry I made this decision. I think it's the best decision we've made."
And that's the manager saying.
The level of ethics you brought to the table is amazing. And they had stopped even rolling out electricity. Winreco is the West Nile equivalent of Umeme, across 9 districts. So we are the only people plugged in. The young people. And so when they had stopped, they said, "Now we cleaned up everything, you helped us clean up, so let's move on the collection side." So we are happy, we are humbled, and that's how we started Pivot. So we've suffered 2 lockdowns.
But you're here.
Yes, we're here.
So now, I feel like we probably skipped something. Why did you tell us and our viewers, like, what does Pivot Payments do? Like, what drives you guys? What solutions are you presenting? And then,
So first and foremost, we're financial technology as a company. But we prefer to call ourselves a financial technology platform. Why we don't name it that way is because we know the future is huge. But what we are, and what we found ourselves to become more and more, we are building the payment gateway between the UAE and Africa. So again, just like that lady of Bali that I told you about, one day I was watching telly. We are fintech, we do payments, collections, but that's what everybody is doing on the market.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we thought we needed to do more. We needed to find our space, a space that has not been trodden or fully saturated.
So you're basically opening a new path.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one day I was watching TV and there was a story about a young girl who I think she was fighting with her mother or something. They were at the police, and the mom had eaten the money she had been sending when she was in the UAE. And in breaking down, she said, "I worked for this money. I was abused physically, mentally, and how can my own mother,
use this money
when she knows what I've gone through and there's nothing to show for it. If she had built herself a house, that would be okay. But sorry, there was nothing to show for it. And so it broke me. I remember I broke down and cried. So this is and then I said, look, we can't do something about it. We had a parent business, we do collections, we do it. And that's how the remittance idea came.
Okay.
But then when we thought about it, the challenges, I said, but we started pivoting now. We are somewhere right now. I think we can do something. So her voice kept ringing. I called my partners. I remember I said, guys, I want us to do this. I said, but Shamirah, we are in payments. Now you're telling us to do remittance. How does this work? I said, well, give me a chance. Let me do something. Let's build something. Let's try it out. And so we started build. We have a mobile application, and that's how this baby comes up. So our retail brand is Tumia. It's a mobile app where somebody can download and send money at no fee. I must mention
no
that.
Fee.
Yes, no fee. To Uganda. So the whole point was they have issues of cost. They have issues of safety. They have issues of security and control. So we wanted to give them that. But also compete favorably, because if I'm going to charge them exorbitantly, then it just doesn't make sense. When you look at the corridor of US and the corridor of Europe, it's pretty much taken care of. But when you look at the UAE, there's and so that's how we got into Tumiapesa, and that's how we got into what we call the GCC corridor. So we've built that. Tested, we're comfortable, we're happy. When someone tries to use the product, it's amazing response. And so that's where we are.
Let me just ask a few things about Tumiapesa, because the inspiration for that is based on what you saw on TV and what the lady experienced. So if now you've created a platform where money can be sent from over there to here, my question is, because I feel like the motivation for this was, could this person have sent her money? So does Tumiapesa do that? Like, does it have a wallet where they can keep all their money and it's safe? And
So what I probably didn't mention on that problem was sometimes when these girls are going to work, girls and boys are going to work in the UAE, they open up bank accounts here and then their ATMs come later and they're given to family. And sometimes the money is put into those banks so the family has the ATM, and so they're happy go lucky. It's a happy hour every moment. And so what we did, we looked at that and said, look, it's not just one problem. That was the starting problem. But there's a several line of problems. So among the problems that we came into, so we said, look, there's control. How do they control their money? Knowing they cannot have an account that side because they're not full residents, and knowing they have no control over an account this side because they've left. And so we bridged that gap. And so we said, look, we have a wallet. Let's do a wallet. So we built a wallet last year. And so someone is able to top up. First of all, open an account. Top up their wallet, keep their money in there, and it's mobile. You don't have to belong to any network, MTN, Airtel, anything. It's a network agnostic. And so when they want to send money, they just go into the app and say, I want to send money, and they'll control how much goes out. But most importantly, they'll choose who it goes to.
So when they're paid into the account, can they move the money from that account to the wallet? To the wallet,
absolutely.
So they have control.
Yes, they have control. They have absolute control. There's no charges. We don't charge people to keep the money in there. So we've got into some arrangements with our banks
Okay.
because this is almost like a deposit
Yes.
campaign, and so they've been very gracious to us, very generous to us, because one, we're both pulling clientele,
Mhm.
but also putting funds. And there are other models, there are other creative
Yeah.
ways to earn.
Okay.
I don't want to keep, let the cat out of the bag, but we are
well,
no fee.
they're your trade secret,
Yes,
so that's
it's
fine.
a trade secret,
Yeah.
really. But it's a no fee base,
Yeah.
so someone can send money for, we don't care how many times we're going to
Okay.
send.
Okay.
As long as we're comfortable on KYC, who you're
Yeah.
sending it to, and the reason we're sending it to.
Yeah. So, Shamirah, I
Yeah.
almost said princess, but I
Shamirah.
remember.
Let's
Yeah.
stick to
So,
Shamirah.
Shamirah, as a woman in a male-dominated industry,
Mhm.
how do you feel about the opportunities, but then also like, do you actually think that there's great opportunity for women in this industry?
I think it's one of those few industries that would work better for women.
Mm.
It is male dominated, yes,
Yes.
by default.
Okay.
But I think the narrative is slowly changing. When you look at Uganda, for instance, there's a couple of people who are coming up and they're doing so many things around it. First of all, I think there's someone doing what they call coding in heels,
Yes.
and that's for girls,
For girls,
and
yes.
women.
Yeah.
There are more positions being taken up by women.
Yeah.
For example, one of I think it's the Secretary General for FITSPA is a lady,
Mm.
and so it's a very prestigious position,
Yeah.
Ziana.
Yeah.
There is Rashmi, who is in UNCDA.
Mm.
There's Stella Ugalambi. There's a couple of us now.
Okay.
The industry has nurtured. It's been hard because we've literally gone through the trenches.
Yeah.
It's the people who are coming after us that will have it much
Okay.
easier.
Yes.
But there are challenges. It's an industry that is very, very challenged.
So
Many
so
levels.
tell us about this challenge.
So the challenges are not really personal, if I could call it that. You wouldn't find outright attacks. It's a very almost peaceful industry.
Okay.
There's an almost camaraderie or family, sort of environment.
Yeah.
We look out for each other,
Yeah.
and we've got these different firms that we're in.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge is now is how fast-paced the industry is growing.
Okay.
And therefore it calls for regulation.
Yeah.
So some of the regulation that has been, for example, we before, for all those years that I talked about, we were a gray area as an industry.
Yeah.
So I remember some time when I was in I think it was Africa, we went to UCC and they told us, no, we're not regulators. You're not a telecom.
Yeah.
We went to BOU and they said, you're not a bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, look guys, it's communication, it's SMSs, we
Yes.
move money, we pay people. These are
Yes.
huge amounts of money.
Yes.
And we are glad that those discussions we had then have come to fruit.
Yeah.
To give guidance or national direction. So now we are regulated by the Bank of Uganda.
Okay.
And last year they put out a regulation, the National Payment Systems Act, and this year it got the regulation in and of itself.
Okay.
But I think it's one of the things that I think it's both a golden handcuff and a golden handshake.
Yeah.
Because yes, it's regulating us, it's refining, it's streamlining the industry, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of money in this industry, crazy money if I can call
I can
it that.
imagine.
Crazy money. But then it's tying down the requirements to get a license are almost at the bank level.
Mm.
You're talking capitalization, the smallest being 100 million.
Wow.
The next level being 500 million, the
Yeah.
next level being $1 billion plus. So these are huge. And when you look at fintech in and of its nature,
Yeah.
it's the young ones that are coming up to
be able to build.
be able to build. So if you're asking this young guy who is just building a solution
For 100 million.
100 million, and and that is that's just the capitalization. Now there are other requirements that
Yes.
this license, that license,
Yes.
this policy,
Yes.
this many people, this system. So when you look at it as a whole,
Yeah.
the capital requirement is huge.
Yes.
When you look at it as a whole, the regulation in and of itself is a bit very, very tight. I don't want to say very bit. I'm saying it's very,
Very
tight.
tight.
It clamps down on creation,
Yeah.
clamps down on innovation, and so then there's need for flexibility. So it's a very big challenge.
Yeah.
It means one of three things. One, they will abandon innovation.
Yeah.
In abandoning innovation as a market,
We lose.
we'll go, 10 years back. We're in the age of industry.
Yeah.
This is the fourth industrialization,
Yeah.
digitization. The other option would be to sell their stake
Yeah.
to people who just want to put in money, but they're not interested in the industry. So there's a likelihood they'll cripple the industry.
Yeah.
And then the other option would be foreign companies, because they've got money to come in and take up this. So what happens is that there's a repatriation
Of funds.
Yeah. And so at the end of the day, you're asking yourself, are you growing your economy? When you look at the landscape in Africa, when you look at Nigeria and how it's positioning itself, Nairobi, there's a lot of funding that is coming in.
That's
right?
right.
When you look at their regulation, it's not as crazy clamped as this one.
Oh.
All right.
Yes.
So it's sort of, it's very self-defeating in a way.
Do you think that the people who come up with these regulations are technocrats and like they don't really have an idea of how the industry works, or like
it's not so much about having an idea about how the industry works. It's not so much about them being technocrats.
yes,
It's so much about them being used to the level of banking and the risks associated with banking. When you see things from their side, it makes perfect sense that if you're going to do, transactions over $1 million plus, you need to hedge this risk in a certain way.
Yeah.
But there's need to rethink that at the very least, say you should be partnering with someone solid enough to hedge this risk for you.
Yes.
But then not ask this young person or this small person to come up with such heavy amounts. So I think it's a question of approach,
Yes.
and also opening lines of discussion with us as a fraternity.
Yes.
We've tried to engage at different levels, different times, and we are seeing a bit of positivity, especially from Bank of Uganda, and I want to commend them.
Yeah.
Especially Dr. Tumiapesa. He's extended the olive branch. It's no longer government. It's not us against them or them against us.
Now
he's put a bridge.
Yeah, he's saying we're together.
We're together in this. What can we do? Yes.
Yeah.
How do we make it work? How do we? What can we change? What can we do?
Yeah.
So for us, that's a welcome thing. It's challenging. I think I had last week. They said they are going to be giving interim licenses as they are rethinking the capital requirements, because it was killing us.
Yes.
And so that. Then secondly, in terms of product. The product, there's a bit of clamping around the product.
Okay.
Yeah, what is available on the market, especially from the government side. So now that one, I will be very candid with you. It's a question of understanding and being open.
Yes.
What they don't know, they won't allow. They fear.
Yes.
You're not saying that what you don't know, you fear.
Yeah.
So there are things that they are refusing. They're refusing the crypto. It's doing very well in other markets. The government, the sovereignties, adopting them. There are certain products that they're refusing, or certain tools that they're using, and it's inevitable.
Like they're here. It's here.
It's not going to go back.
Anywhere.
So what they're going to do in refusing these things is give birth to a thriving black market. A very, very big black market that you cannot trace.
Wow.
So the only thing is to say, look, we can have a sort of like relaxed, regulated environment as we look at this, but not absolutely say we're not going to do this, or we don't want to even look at that, or this is illegal. You have to look at what is Africa looking at?
Yes.
What is the world looking at? Where are we going?
And then how do we fit in?
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's. I hope that they're watching and listening to these ideas, and so that we can have an enabling environment for the fintech industry.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's the future looking like for people payments? Like you say things about like cryptos. Is that something you guys are going to be considering? Like what's the future looking like?
So the future for Pivot, very ambitiously, we are looking at being the first and in the top 10 African fintechs.
Yes.
I'm not talking about Uganda.
It's Africa.
My sights are off Uganda now. I'm looking at Africa. I look at us being in more than 20 countries.
Yeah.
I look at us being the preferred gateway for the UAE to other African markets. I look at us being another addition onto the African fintech footprint with a wallet, a single wallet. So we will be taking the same wallets to the different countries.
Okay.
Very challenging, very ambitious,
but also very exciting.
Capital
Intensive.
Requirements are huge.
I can imagine. Huge.
But
yes.
I always say, alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, we're here. Have amazing partners, have an amazing team, young people.
Yeah.
I believe it's not been entirely my knowledge or know-how or skill or network that got us here. It's by the grace of God, because the companies that have struggled and probably don't push the same traction of what. And so that in itself is very humbling. So we are very focused on what we want to be, and we want to be the gateway for Africa. And I think this for me would be an opportunity to advise upcoming fintechs. Focus is very important.
Yes.
It's very, very attractive to do so many things in this market that are going to bring little things.
Yes.
But when you look at the fintechs that have made it big, they have a single product type. When you look at Wave being valued at $2 billion, when you look at Cellular having done its payment, when you look at Flutterwave being valued at $1 or $2 billion, they should focus, they should tough it out, they should think around that one thing and grow it and find it. And also they should be looking at building products that are scalable. In building a product that is scalable, you should be looking at, if I took this from this particular market, will it survive in another market? That's what scale for me translates to. And also they should look at sustainability, and that, I think for me, that's the punchline for me. Sustainability is very important, but this generation, we like doing things on our own, and because when something happens to you, the business either collapses, when you're not in things, you just stand still. And so they should learn to bring on people and trust in those people and empower those people, but also build systems where even if you walk away from the business, I can tell you that there are days I'm not going to come in and things are still going to start.
Yeah, as it should be.
Yes, my biggest inspiration from that was the late Mulwana, having come from a humble background, built an empire. Even years after he's gone, the company is growing, multitudes. He also diversified, so that I learned from it that there's pros and cons of diversification. Do you have to diversify? Do you not have to diversify? Where we started from is not where we are. We had to switch at a certain point. In my career, I have switched severally. So it's where we see ourselves going is that one point, that one area. When you think, there's two things that when someone thinks about sending money, it should be as easy as an SMS or a call, and two, it should be sending with love. So those are two things we want to drive home. So cost should not be an issue. Simplicity should not be an issue. Safety should not be an issue. Time should not be an issue. So there's a lot of work that goes on in putting that baby together out in the market.
That's wonderful. So is Tumiapesa on the platforms?
It is available on Play Store. It's available on Android, Play Store, and then we are working on putting out the Android version.
The Android version or the iPhone version?
The iPhone version.
Okay, the Apple version.
So we have the Android version. We're working on putting out the iOS version.
Okay, that's great. So somebody can actually go right now and download Tumiapesa and they can transact. So it also works locally, yeah?
It does. It works locally. So you can actually send. So this is what I didn't say. There's always what you call the primary product and then the secondary product. There's the must-have and the nice-to-have. Because you want to see why someone should be coming back to you. So on there you can pay your bills.
On Tumiapesa.
So which means someone in Dubai can actually pay for their mother. TV, power, water.
Nice.
So if Mama calls and says, I'm sorry, the guy got with their phone, she can pay for it, right? And we're going to be putting a lot of things on that are very, very unique to that channel. We will be putting purchase of land. We'll be putting buying houses. We will be adding.
So basically, you can
we are tailoring
everything
on that
in there. So I don't even have to get physical cash or anything. that's a solution
So
over
that's the
there.
direction. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Oh,
So
that's
it's-
amazing.
In Uganda, you can download it and send money MTN. It's cross network.
Yes.
So I can be with MTN and then I send to Airtel.
Okay.
Right. And we are adding another feature where you can send up to 20 people in one transaction.
Oh.
Yes. So you can send mobile money up to 20 people.
Yeah,
in
so
one
if I want to
transaction.
pay people, maybe I want to pay salaries
Yes.
via mobile money,
Yes.
I can put my 20
Yes.
employees
Yes.
and
On your phone.
put the separate figures for them,
Yes.
and then boom.
Yes.
Wow, amazing.
So those are things that are on the application.
Okay. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure,
It's an honor.
just
It's an
having this
honor.
conversation with you and learning about pivot payments and Tumiapesa. Guys, download the app,
Yes.
on the Android Play Store.
Yes.
Yeah. And for you guys who are using iOS, it will be
Out
loading
soon.
soon.
Yes.
And definitely, I don't think this is going to be the last time that we're
I hope
having a
not.
conversation like this.
I probably,
And,
I wish for the time when we are probably meeting and maybe I've raised some good money.
Okay.
We are
Yeah.
celebrating and saying we've raised $10 million
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
$50 million or
Yeah.
something. So yeah.
And what are you launching soon? You said you are launching something soon.
The GCC product
Okay.
has gone out. We've rolled it out.
Okay.
Typical of launches now, we can't do a launch in
Of
Kampala
course.
because sending is from the other side,
Yes.
and so we plan on doing some activations the other
Okay.
side.
Okay.
And the countries we serve really are Dubai, Qatar, Oman, Abu Dhabi,
Okay.
Saudi Arabia,
Okay.
Kuwait, and then we'll be adding more recipient countries in the next 2-3 months.
Okay.
We'll be moving to about 8 countries in Africa. That
Yeah.
is Ghana, Cameroon, Ethiopia, Malawi, Tanzania,
Wow.
Southern Sudan,
Wow.
and then we will also be going into Somalia. Somaliland
Yeah.
has also as a company, not just as a remittance
Okay.
product. So we'll be moving out. So in about 2 months, we
Yes.
should be across different markets.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And well, we're glad to be part of this journey,
I'm honored.
and we will continue, telling this story and just putting it out there.
Thank
Right.
you.
So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for
Anytime.
allowing to be a guest at DN Live TV.
I was honored.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank you very
right.
much. All right.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in into this episode of DN Live TV. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.